Gather round the fire, vicious clan, for I have something I wish to discuss with you, as those that call yourself Gruul, ones comprised of red-green mana. You've not once stopped to ponder or put into words your philosophy, for such musings are best left to those who lack a connection to the pure state of self that you have achieved. While it's something I do understand, I ask that you not deny your knowledge to those who are curious. This is why, in this video, I've taken it upon myself to explain the philosophy of Gruul through 4 concepts, starting with the core of its beliefs and finally ending on the abstract. Before we dive into the philosophy of red-green though, I must first thank those that support my work directly, my patrons, and a special thank you to my newest patron, Jonathan. With that, let us begin at the heart and soul of Gruul. To understand the philosophy of red-green, or Gruul, we must first expand upon the core traits in which the 2 colors present can find common ground. For Gruul, the driving force behind both its actions and beliefs is the coming together of impulse and instinct. These 2 concepts serve as the impetus behind this pair, and indeed are an underlying factor influencing every living thing. We are already given all the knowledge we need upon our birth, a heart that guides, a gut that knows. The answer to life's riddles ought not be so complex, as every answer to its questions are provided by following our inner guides. And if we break down each side of the pair, you begin to understand where this comes from. You see, red is a color guided by its heart, by its impulses. It is that sudden urge to act upon those fleeting desires, like a bolt of energy telling us where to move and how to act. In the case of green, it provides that instinct to the pair. It's that gut feeling, crafted especially for us, which is built by a combination of our environment, culture, and species. It's innate knowledge passed down by our parents and ancestors. When these 2 come together, we are guided through both action and reaction in a way that is true to who we are. For Gruul, this is the coming together of humanity and nature. It is our human nature. We must contain both sides of what makes us special, our connection to that root state of being. Where these concepts can end up being lost are upon modern humanity. That is, as we are now, we do nothing but aim to place layers of complexity over top of those voices within us, and to doubt those very voices, as we see ourselves above our base human nature, all because we want to fit into civilization's mold for a perfect and tamed world. To that end, a red-green aligned person would tell you to strip away every layer you have placed upon those voices, and to dig deep to find who you truly are. In the case of red-green's application of its core philosophy, we have but one word which can describe it, and that is simplicity. Though this word on its own, without the context I will provide, sounds rather, well, simple, the truth is that this single word means a lot more to Gruul than you think. It is a word which pushes back against the shared enemy of this pair, blue, a color who creates complexity with its worldview, a color who can't stop for 1 second to realize that its efforts do nothing but distract it from the truth in front of them. As I've said, life ought not be so complicated. Everything we are and everything we need has been presented to us, and it is instead our modern view of the world around us and that of ourselves which makes life complex for its own sake. Simplicity to Gruul is simplicity in who we are, what we want from this life, and our effect on the environment around us. The first point is, in truth, explained in its core philosophy, that of instinct and impulse, and that as someone Gruul aligned, you should not be thinking outside of this context. Do you feel something? Yes? Then act on it. Do you know something? Then trust it. There is no need to dig any deeper. The person we need to be is already there within us, and the only introspection required is that of listening to who that person is and removing any barriers to that power of human nature. This aligns with the second point, in that we need not expect more from this life than that which is provided. Things like striving for perfection are only relevant to those who think that life is not perfect the way it is, to those who have not danced in the rain, laid under a tree on a warm summer day, or dove headfirst into the ocean. What more could we want from this life than the delicacies presented to us? To the final point, that of simplicity in our environment, it is meant to say that our environment is perfect the way it is, and to reject this notion is to reject what makes us who we are, as we are the created result of our environment, culture, and shared history. I say once again that this is a rejection of Gruul's enemy, blue, a color who will manipulate, transform, and otherwise break the beauty of what lies around it. This is why Gruul on some planes can be a force of destruction when it comes to the cities that stifle the land, because such cities are nothing but a devastation of the very environment that gave birth to us. You see, one's heart cannot be heard among the bustle of civilized expectations, and our instincts are dulled upon the falsehoods of comfort. So yes, Gruul believes in simplicity through and through, a notion that is grander than one might think, as it takes strength and passion to live in such a way. One of my favorite quotes by a philosopher named Jean-Jacques Rousseau is this: "Man was born free, but he is everywhere in chains." A quote that is simple in design, but reflects how Gruul sees the world around it. Once upon a time, we were wild and free, and yet now we face the chains of our own design. To Gruul, we must reject these chains and bring ourselves closer to that original state. This is built upon both colors present. As you see, red desires true freedom, unrestricted, as each restriction that is placed upon us is a shackle which pins down one's true self, a self that desires to act upon one's own emotions, passions, and impulses. In the case of green, it believes that we are meant to be wild, to express the version of ourself which nature has defined. And you see, nature does not create such barriers as those we see in a so-called civilized world. It is limitless and wild. This idea is then further contrasted against their shared enemy blue, who is refined and methodical. Each of these facets come together to shape Gruul, who is then a color pair who values a life that has no barriers to its actions, and one that heeds the call of the wild and not that of civilization. Of course, if you yourself are Gruul, then you must be acutely aware of the aching in one's own soul for a life outside of which humanity has defined. You wish to escape, to find your place among the woods, the seas, or the desert, to strip away the shackles placed upon you, and dance in the moonlight. It is deep within anyone aligned with these colors, not because you're bored with your life, but because it's part of who you are. And yet, to fit into this society, we have lost the parts of ourselves that are wild and free. Just as the forest continues to recede by human hands, so too has our connection to it. Now, this does not mean that Gruul cannot form its own society. No, in fact, such things as tribes and clans are in fact conducive to a Gruul society. Small groups, tightly knit with a connection to the lands and traditions which hold expression in high regard, are best suited for a red-green society. Such communities allow each member to be who they were meant to be, all while holding on to the importance of camaraderie and a shared history. For we are still animals who desire a pack. It's just that if this pack were too large, then greater restrictions would be put in place to hold it together, and no group is worth the toll of losing one's own freedom. There are primal forces which predate the very fabric of reality itself, and instinct and impulse are like faint echoes of this power that once surged freely throughout our own plane and all the planes of the vast multiverse. These forces mirror the bubbling magma beneath our feet, ceaselessly seeking an outlet to burst forth in a symphony of violent majesty, akin to the soul of the earth or the heartbeat of a plane. They manifest as expressions of great storms or swirling eddies of mana, shaping the very essence of our cosmos. Those aligned with Gruul are attuned to these primordial energies. They feel the pulsating current coursing through their veins, and they sense it building in the core of their hearts. Their souls seem to resonate with the dance of these forces, attuned to the ancient rhythms whispered by the cosmos. The restless nature of those aligned with red-green arises from the recognition that they are mere conduits, channels through which this primal energy flows. They become vessels of a grander cosmic symphony, resonating with the universe's deepest secrets. To those who follow red-green, the communion with these forces is visceral, almost tangible. It echoes in their joyous dances, reverberates in the melodies of their songs, and erupts in the fervor of their battles. In moments of extreme expression, when they embrace the full extent of their passions and emotions, they transcend the boundaries of the mundane and tap into that underlying power that weaves through all things. This primal link imbues them with a profound sense of purpose, as they comprehend that they are an integral part of a larger cosmic dance. They are not merely spectators, but active participants, intricately woven into the fabric of reality. To embrace the essence of red-green alignment is to embark on a profound journey, one that uncovers the pulsating heart of the cosmos and offers a glimpse into the primordial source of all creation. In the impulses and instincts which act as guides, those aligned with red-green have a distinct confidence in who they are. Because of this, they may live simple lives, one unfettered by doubt, as they can sense the connection they hold to the very essence of everything. Through this expression, they're able to live wild and free, to reject arbitrary complexity brought on by a system that is afraid of its human nature. Now that you have learned all that Gruul has to teach, do you hear those primal voices calling to you? And if so, will you heed their call? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video to the end. I hope, as always, this gave you something to think about. If you want to learn more about the philosophy of either of the colors present in this pair, then watch one of these videos here. And with that, friends, I will catch you in the multiverse. Bye.